is NBC Palm Springs.
Thank you for joining us for Midday News. I'm Thalia Hayden. Well, there seemed to be some confusion on whether or not I still worked here at NBC Palm Springs. So here is your answer. I'm here. My shift has changed, though. No more early mornings for me, but I'm certainly still here. Because of the Olympics, there was no midday news for the past 2 weeks, but here we are, and I am so glad that you will be joining me for lunch rather than breakfast now. We have a lot to get to, so let's get right to it. New at 11. Are you looking for work? Well, there are about 1 million more jobs open right now than people who want to fill them. The Department of Labor says employers in the U.S. are facing an interesting challenge. There are about 10 million job openings, but there are only 8.7 million Americans looking for work. But why don't people want to get back to work? That is the question. MIT professor and poverty expert Esther Duflo says it's because of the bigger picture. She says the top 3 reasons people don't want to go back to work because COVID has changed the way we see the world. Also, childcare costs hinder women in the workplace, and relocation is a big factor as well. Another hot topic right now, the United Nations calls a climate change report a code red for humanity. Hundreds of scientists who are assessing global warming say the Earth will likely be surpassing a mark that world leaders have long tried to prevent. Crossing the 1.5 degrees Celsius warming mark in the 2030s, that's sooner than some earlier predictions. Now, the report from the UN states climate change is already accelerating the rise of sea levels, causing more extreme weather like intense heat waves and floods. Scientists are exploring different scenarios for our future based on how much carbon emissions are cut. Now, Al Gore is also chiming in on the UN climate report, saying there's no time left to waste. On Twitter, he wrote this, quote, "One of the most important lessons from the COVID-19 pandemic is that when scientists are warning about a looming threat, we all ought to listen. Today, the UN is once again sounding the alarm on the climate crisis, and their warning is clearer than ever. We need climate action now. We cannot rely on vague pledges with distant deadlines. We need concrete plans to phase out fossil fuels in the near term. There is no time left to waste," end quote. All right, speaking of weather, here is that live look from our Agua Caliente casino cam in Rancho Mirage. Beautiful shot of those clouds on top of the mountain. Here's Mike in for Jerry with your forecast.